Hi tribe, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk about setting goals, right, and achieving your goals. So first of all, I want to say I know we are in April. It's April now. It's April. I know that we're in April, and most of the time we talk about our goals and setting goals in January or in December. We know that January is coming around the corner and we want to achieve X and Y. But sometimes, truly speaking, life just doesn't work like that. And I feel like even now that it's April, even if you watch this in May, June, July, whenever you watch this, right? I feel like you can always go back and set goals whenever, it's not just at the beginning of the year. Sometimes we say, oh, on Monday, I will do this and do that. But it's okay. It's absolutely okay. If you set them at the beginning of the year, it didn't quite work out, that's all right. If you're looking for Monday to set them, that's okay too. But goals are such an important part of our lives that we should have goals. Everyone, regardless of what your situation is, you should have goals. Even if you say to yourself, I'm going to start on Monday, but just have goals. Okay, so I think for me, I just wanted to start off by that because I think sometimes it feels weird because I know everyone does how to set your goals in the beginning of the year. All those videos you find it in December or in the first week of January. But here I am talking about setting goals for the new year. Okay, and I'll tell you why. I've been going through like a little bit of a shift, if you want to call it that, where I've started reviewing my business, where I've started reviewing the things that I'm doing in my life, in my business, and just like all round. And I've started setting new goals even in this season. So don't be afraid to set new goals just because, maybe you had different goals or goals that were aligned to who you were in the past. So yeah, I wanted to start maybe with a bit of a disclaimer that it's okay to set goals, to set fresh new goals whenever, at any month, at any day, you can set new fresh goals because what has worked in the past is not going to work in the future, or you don't want to keep on doing what you've been doing, even if it has worked. Because for me, things have worked in the past and they're still working, but I know that there's a shift and I know I need to change one or two things, all right? So setting goals. I think it's very important, number one, to write down your goals, okay? And funny enough, I can't even explain it. I cannot really explain why it's important to write down your goals versus maybe just having them on your laptop or just having them in your mind. And I think maybe psychologists have likened this and they've said that, there's something so powerful when you write down your goals. It's as if somehow your pen, your hand become connected and it just goes into your subconscious mind and it gets deep down in there to say this is what we want to achieve, right? So writing your goals is one of the most important things. It really sets the tone, and for me, I've realized that if I write things down, I hardly ever forget them. So write down your goals, write them down, because it's also something that you can revisit. You can revisit this thing and look at, okay, these are the goals that I had for myself. So number one, write them down. Then I think the second thing is, what are your core values as a person? I think sometimes we kind of divorce the two, who we are and our core beliefs and our principles, to the things that we want to achieve. And I say this because you cannot achieve something if you believe it is inherently bad. And I'll give you an example with money. I know for a lot of people, when I talk about what are your beliefs about money, some people will tell you, oh no, money doesn't grow on trees, or some people will tell you money is evil, money is what. You cannot achieve financial security and literally live your best life, like live larger than life, if you think money is bad. It can be a goal, but it's not married to your core values. You see what I'm talking about? So You truly inherently have to believe something is good for you to want to achieve it and for you to achieve it. So it talks to your core values, it talks to who you are as a person and your belief system. You can never run away from your core beliefs. That's the thing. You can never ever run away from your core beliefs. And that what you believe and your core beliefs, you might not think you believe a certain way. But if you reflect back on your life, you will see there are some things that you believe. You will see. The thing about life and how you are living and who you are, if you reflect back on your life and you see everything, it will tell you who you are. Your mouth might speak something different, but your actions and everything that you've done say a completely different thing. So your core beliefs, they have to be aligned with your goals, all right? And if you don't want to be that person, or if you have been believing a lie, you still can change it as well. It's not like, okay, I was born this way, then this. No, that's rubbish. You can change, right? But it starts with you identifying that actually I don't want to be this person. Okay, so your core beliefs are very important. Then I think when setting goals, because they can be audacious goals, they can be big goals. I'll give you an example, and I know most of you know this about me. Bentley, even Pam is like, Bentley in the background. I love a Bentley. And I know there's something very cheeky, but for me, I believe that everything else is a mode of transport. A Bentley is a car, okay? A Bentley is a car for me. So I want a Bentley. What do people do? They think big. I think Bentley is a big thing, right? And I know there's some point where it's going to come and it's not going to be a big thing for me. But right now, it's a big thing. But what do we do because something is so big? You become so afraid of it that you don't ask, how much is this thing? What does this thing cost? What does my dream, what does my goal cost? Then from there, and let me take a step back even before going to the next point. What does my goal cost? So for example, with a Bentley, one thing I have done and I continue to do, okay, I love staying at my house. I don't like going anywhere. Pam knows this. But in instances when I do go out, one of the things that I love doing, if I want to do an experience, if I want to go on holiday, which is one of my favorite things to do, the one thing I spend money on and I do it without guilt, I will ask myself, how much is this going to cost me? So I know maybe my Bentley is going to cost me 3 million, it's going to cost me 5 million, depending on the model, right? So I will take my calculator. Another thing when you're setting financial goals, don't be afraid, guys, to do a little bit of maths, a little bit of multiplication and adding. It goes a long way. And we do that very often with Pam here. I love Pam because she's smart. She's also very smart. So, okay, it costs 3 million. And I want to achieve this in the next 5 years. So that's 60 months, right? So 3 million divided by 60. So it means that every month, at least I need to be making 50 million. Yes, I know it's not a very practical example in this case, but it's really just doing basic maths to say, okay, I want X and Y. So for you could be a house. I want a 1 million rent house. And I know I want maybe 20% deposit, right? 200,000. So for me to reach 200,000, how many months is it going to take me, right? So that's it. Don't be afraid of maths. But equally, on top of that, not just doing the maths, going to view the house that you want, going into the car that you want. I have seen so many people who are afraid. Sir, ma'am, I've been to a Bentley dealership, and when I went, I was driving a Chevy 2007. Okay, I mean, this thing was paid off. I think it was 50,000. Imagine arriving at a Bentley dealership in a 50,000 rent car. And I went there, my head held up high. I wasn't saying, oh, I'm driving not driving a Bentley. I'm driving a Chevy, so I can't go there. I'm going to hide. No, I went and packed it. I went into the dealership. I said, what will a Bentley Continental GT cost me? And if I was to customize it to this spec, because I even know what the interior is going to look like. I went in there, and guess what? The people there, they were very nice. I remember being offered champagne. I remember, but a lot of people won't do that because, but I drive a Golf. No. No, your head held up high. Remember, you are God's own. You are royalty. So I went in there like royalty. I said, what will this thing cost me? Even before I started making money, I was getting paid and it was peanuts. But I went in there very confidently. And they offered me and they said, okay, would you like to see this? Oh, but we even have another model. This one, we think it will be perfect for you. I'm like, perfect for me. But do not deny yourself these things. Get to experience the things that you want, because someone is selling them and you are their customer. For me, I tell myself, I'm like, I am their client. I am their customer. I'm going to buy these things. All right. So don't be afraid. And I just want to read something to you here. Without goals, you lack focus and direction. Goals not only allow you to take control of your life's direction, it also provides you a benchmark of determining whether you are actually succeeding or not. Goals are important, whether they are ridiculous, whether they are up there. But equally, your goals need to be SMART. All right, S.M.A.R.T. SMART means that they need to be specific. So you want to buy a house, you want to buy a car, you want your business to turn over 100 million, you want your business to turn over, if you're just starting out, 50,000. Some people, that's a goal, and that's a beautiful goal, and you should go for it. But you must be specific about the goal. Some people say to me, now bringing it back to personal finance, people will say to me, I want to pay off my debt. I'm like, okay, how much is your debt? Cricket. Pam, can we bring in we still need to work on our editing. Right? But you have not quantified. You're not specific enough. Like, okay, I have 50,000 worth of debt. I have 100,000 worth of debt. I have 500,000 worth of debt. So now you know what you're working towards, because being specific allows you and makes you realize what you're working towards. So you're specific. What does the M stand for? Measurable, right? So you've measured it, like, okay, you're specific, I want to pay off debt. Now measurable is, okay, I have X amount of debt, right? Then attainable. This one I kind of agree and disagree with at the same time, right? Because attainable, it means that your goals have to be attainable. They have to be, I won't even say small enough for them to be attainable, but it's kind of like, yeah, they have to be small so that sometimes, yes, you have to set in the short term, it can be attainable because okay, I want to pay 50,000 rand worth of debt. Bentley, to some money, it could look like that's not attainable, but it is attainable. So setting yourself even big goals is very important. Then this one also, agree, kind of disagree, right? Meaning that they need to be realistic, right? Sometimes they don't need to make sense to everybody, right? Really, sometimes they don't have to be that realistic. Yes, it has to be realistic in that, okay, I'm working towards them every day. I know I'm putting in the work, sure. Then they have to be time bound. There has to be a timeline. People, for example, say, I want to be out of debt. I'm like, okay, by which date? How much do you owe? What is your total debt? You can't just say, I want to be debt free. I want to be a multimillionaire. What is your time frame? Have a time frame to your goals. That is extremely, extremely important. All right. So that's sort of around setting goals and visualizing and experiencing the things, even if you don't own them yet. For example, going to the dealership, trying, test driving the car you want, going to the different homes. So if you want to move from your current house or from your parents' house to a new flat, go start viewing. You might not have the money. Go view, ma'am. Go view. Be there very confidently. No, my price range is around 1.5 million. Gonna go hana yona, but you're there because you know that you're gonna put in the work. You know that you're gonna be praying. You know that you're gonna be putting yourself out there. All right. So start. It's that you experience things and your mind. I don't know how these things work, but it works. I promise you. Okay. And then now I want to talk about execution. So you've written them down. You have gone for viewings. You've gone for a test drive. You have envisioned that your business will turn over this much and this is how much the profits will be. Then in terms of the execution, how do you plan on getting it? Right? Because remember, you've done the maths. So now you know, okay, actually, this will cost me this much. or this is how much I need to be saving. And I mean, I was even talking to Pam. I know I'm always talking to Pam. That don't be afraid of the meds, as I was saying earlier. Don't be afraid of the meds. And what I find, because now you know what your dream, what your goal is going to cost you, somehow things start connecting. There becomes more opportunities. And I was saying to her that because she has a goal right now, and I said, don't be bogged down by the detail. Keep on doing what you need to do. And yes, try to level up. But, you know, I was even talking to my mentor about this, and he was telling me a personal story that, you know, he had sold something and he was sitting with cash and he didn't know what to do with it. Nice life problems. I know, I want those for myself. And I wish that for you as well. And he was sitting with cash and he was like, okay, what am I going to do with this? And he's kind of started playing around with ideas. Okay, maybe I can do this or we can do that. And literally a few days later, a friend of his called him and said, hey, there's a development or whatever in this place. You know, I'm not going to talk in detail about that. But because he had this thing, he knew that, okay, I have an opportunity. I have this thing that I want to do. When you start asking yourself questions, things and God starts helping you. And yeah, as soon as you start talking about stuff, somehow, and I think it brings me very nicely to, there's a quote that says, when you are ready, the master appears. So even you, in your quest for reaching your goals, when you start writing them down, when you start talking about them, the master or that thing which will help you attain them will appear. I promise you, right? Then I think really talking about breaking down of things. People are afraid, like, oh, I want a house for 5 million. That's a lot. But sometimes, again, when you start breaking things down, you realize that actually, man, so it means that in my business, I need to do X and Y. This thing is achievable. Come on. This is small business, small things, okay? Then the third one, which I'm going to talk about, is measuring and reviewing your financial goals. We write them down and we start going about life to execute them. But do you ever go back? You know, how many of you, yes, I know that I said, you know, you should not feel shame even if you set them in January and maybe it's not working out, or you're setting new ones because maybe the ones that you set in January are not aligned with who you really are. They're not aligned to your core. But do you ever go back and review your goals? Or you're so shameful that, it didn't work out. Sometimes life happens. Things don't always work out. I've had things that don't work out. It's okay. But most things do work out, right? Do you measure? Determine how to measure your goal. You know, how are you going to measure this thing? So, for example, and I think Pam was giving this example, it's like, if your goal, perhaps, let's say you were a small business, you were a freelancer, and your goal was to reach 500,000, as an example, and you reach 300,000, are you going to beat yourself up? Oh, I did not reach 500,000. I'm horrible. No, ma'am. No, sir. It just means that you created 300,000. So how did I create 300,000? Can I level up on that? What do I need to do? You know, so also celebrating small wins is so important. We don't do that enough. And I'm telling you, even right now, I don't do that enough. I know. Pam is like... I think, you know, even saying this, I know I'm the hardest on myself. But I'm learning, just like I'm, you know. But you know, I think it's that thing where, that dichotomy where you know that you're capable of so much, but I'm learning to celebrate. Am I? I am. I am. I definitely am. Right. Be flexible. Be flexible in your goals. No, not in the goals, but in the outcome. So the goal can still stay the same, but how you reach that goal might not be what you had in mind, right? And I'll give an example. When I started Women in Finance, I thought the business was going to be something else. And yet the market, there's a book I'm reading, I've read. It annoys the hell out of me. I'll do a review of it another day. This book, it annoys me. Oh my gosh. Like complete love-hate relationship, right? And one of the things he talks about is a business plan. It's like, it's written in a very American way, very arrogant. That's not the type of style that I like, but I believe that you can learn so much from books that perhaps you don't even agree with, right? So one of the things he says, he's like, your business plan, it's all cute and all, but it's all about execution. What you're saying, or it doesn't matter, basically. That's what he says, right? And he says that you can have a business plan, but the market will tell you what the market wants. And you'll have to shift, you have to be flexible about reaching that goal. And as I was saying, that with me, when I started Women in Finance, I thought I'd be doing what my previous employer was doing, and I'm doing something that is completely different. So be flexible and just not bend, but allow yourself to shift as the market demands. Because at the end of the day, who's the customer? The customer is going to pay you, right? So be flexible. Then I just want to end off with just one maybe antidote, that even when you're setting your goals, your internal language carries a lot of weight. How you speak to yourself matters. If you're thinking, I'm stupid, oh my gosh, if you're hard on yourself all the time. Yes, I said I'm hard on myself, but I'm very kind to myself. Funny enough, I can be hard on myself, like, oh no, you should have done this or that. But my internal language as a person, as a human being, I'm very kind to myself. I'm always saying, you know what, I know you're capable. I know that you're worthy. I know that you're a wonderful person. I know that, your dreams will come true. I'm a very kind person to myself. Even like I said, I think in the kind of past few videos, I told you that I affirm my kids all the time, and I tell them very important stuff. So just as much as you talk to your kids, because you don't want anyone else talking horribly to your kids. For me, I'm a kid at heart, and I talk to myself so nicely, guys. I talk nicely, kindly, lovingly to myself. Even, yes, in moments where I'm that you shouldn't have done that, or that was a terrible mistake, and I come back, I'm like, you know what, God loves you just the way you are. You are his and you belong to him. And I think it brings me nicely to say how you speak to yourself matters, because language and how you speak holds so much. And I'll give you an example. When God created the earth, he said, let there be sun. He did not go and draw it. He did not go on the computer. He said it. So words, they became true, right? They became true words. So your words have power. Your words have life. You have life on your tongue. So you talking horribly about yourself, negatively, and all of those things, you are prophesying for yourself, unto yourself. So if I'm here prophesying that I am worthy, I am lovable, I am smart, I am capable, and I am those things, because he breathed his spirit into us. So meaning that we are his and we are one. If he himself can say things and they come to life, so meaning his spirit in you, you are also capable of that. So what have you been saying to yourself? What have you been saying to yourself all of 2022? Have you been saying you're ugly, you're horrible, you are this, you are that? Then that's what you've become, and that's what you're becoming. So I want and I hope that you can change your language, because it is so important. We have power in our tongue. So whatever goals you have, make sure that you're speaking life into them, breathing life into them. And lastly, you have to sacrifice. I cannot talk about goals without sacrifice, because I would be lying to you. Every goal needs a sacrifice. And I'll give an example. We're talking about Pam with going out, because most of you know that I love eating out. I love trying out different restaurants. So for example, I have a goal right now, and let's say it's to buy a book. I know it's a silly thing, but I'm not ready to tell you what my goal is yet. Some things you must keep to yourself, like as I said. Okay, so let's say my goal is to buy this book, and this book is 200 Rand. And I know that my going out normally costs me about 150 Rand. What will I have to do? I'll probably have to give up my going out or make more money. But even then, they still sacrifice to make you more money because it means that I need to put more hours. I need to over and above what I'm already doing, right? But with every goal, there is sacrifice. People talking about manifesting. Ma'am, you shall sit here. You are manifesting. You are no. You have to sacrifice. You have to do the work for what it is that you want. And sometimes I think we have such a big disconnect between our goals and what we can actually do. Sometimes the small things that add up.
Yeah.
It's not just, oh, okay, there must be this big thing happening. No, sometimes it's literally giving up 20 rand meal and putting it aside. And sometimes if you, let's say, for example, you have the goal to buy a house. Let's say your house is 1 million rand, as an example, right? Or let's say your house is 5 million rand. And you're thinking, what does 1,000 bucks saved today have an impact on a 5 million rand house? It does. Every little bit goes a long way. Even if people are in debt, I always say, even if you're saving 300 bucks or putting 300 bucks extra towards that debt, it makes a difference. So don't discount small things. And I think this is where a lot of our generation goes wrong. Like, no, but it's a small amount. What is going to help? That small amount, because also you're building the habit of putting small amounts. When the big one comes, you know that also this needs to go towards this. And your frame of mind is dedicated to reaching that goal. And every little bit goes a long way. So I hope that you have learned from this video. As I'm always here. But thank you so much for watching. And for me, I want my tribe to grow. Spiritually, monetarily, everything, but also your mind, how your mind works is so important. So do send it to a friend of a friend, and I will see you soon. Remember to like, subscribe, the whole works, and bye for now.